Can you help me upload the car, please? I need somebody to help me offload the car.
Okay, so just checking connections. My guests are in already. Hello, everyone, if you can hear me. Hi, Janet. Hi, Tokwe.
How are you?
Hello, ma'am.
I'll be with you in a second.
All right, yeah, just checking connections. I think we still got some 5-8 minutes thereabouts, but it's okay. So just checking connections.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in early.
All right, great.
Engineer Arulo, how are you, sir? I guess you're on mute. Okay, that's beautiful.
See. Good afternoon, Dapo.
Hi, Tokwe, how are you doing?
Great. Doing great. Doing great. How are you too?
Very well, thank you.
All right.
All right. We also have
good afternoon, Mrs. Adetu.
On the other side, on the other line.
Mr. Rulo, how are you?
Awesome.
I'm doing wonderful.
Excellent.
Great.
Awesome.
Nice connecting. Thank you both for making this happen today. We truly appreciate and looking forward to a very exciting time.
Yes.
All right.
So once we open up, like I said, I'll just
maybe we'll just hang in until like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll just do a quick introductions about the program, about our guests, and we'll kick it off from there. So after the introductions, I'll also give you room to further introduce yourself, talk about your career, how you got here, some lessons learned, and all of that. It's usually a free flow, and things just take off from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And as people come in, they drop in their questions, and we get those questions out and answer them as we go.
Okay. Perfect.
Right. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, the time has finally come again. So exciting.
Good evening, Mr. Dakwa. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, good evening. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Christian. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. All right, so we look forward to this again, and I'm excited that we are doing this together again. In this session of our talk, which we have tagged Career Talk with Professionals. It's so exciting to have this time together, to share this time together again. This is a program that happens every other month. And again, like we said, as we continue to grow capacity and have time and all of that resources, we'll make it a monthly affair because there's so much to talk about. There's so many things to learn. There's so much to share and all of that. Just a little background. If as I get coming, and we please put on mute. Otherwise, let me just quickly do that here. So as you join, please, again, can we just know where you're joining us from as our guests come in? So if you want to put your location in the chat box, again, that helps us to put it in perspective where our guests are joining from. We've had guests all across the different geographical zones. So again, can we just know where you're joining from? I know for some people it's morning, for some people it's evening, it's afternoon. But it's a bright afternoon in Lagos here where I'm connecting from. So if you just want to let us know your location, that would be great as we further expect others to join us. Exciting. Okay, like I was trying to do a little introduction about the program, career talk with professionals. The whole essence or the idea behind it is to have this opportunity to come have interaction, professional in the different agencies of their career. Of their career, those who are mid-level. Okay, I think I'll need to moment. Just a moment. Housekeeping. Housekeeping. So please, as you join, just help do as you join, mute the device so that we don't have Okay, great. Okay, great. So in the course of the work that we do as an organization, and that I also do as an individual, as a coach, we found the need to have this opportunity to bring in student professionals who have gone through some of the things we want to talk about, some of the questions we keep having on a daily basis. So we want to bring them in, we want to share their experience, we want to share their knowledge. We want to also borrow some cue from them so that some of the mistakes that we probably will be making in our own career at this point, they want to share their experience, we don't make those mistakes. And it can also make our learning curve individually as professionals more rich and more enriching. So when we have our guests in here, we also have other participants who are able to share experiences, share knowledge, and also do some networking. So in a nutshell, that's the whole essence around this career talk with professionals that we are having. So I'm welcome all of us, especially our guests for this July edition career talk with professionals. I will do a quick introduction. I can't read all, but what I will just do a quick introduction, the summary introduction of our guests. First, I want to thank you, our guests, for giving us this opportunity of your time to come share experience with us and to come and have some chat and jojo with us this afternoon. It is my pleasure. Let me start with the lady first and talking about our guest for today, Janet Adetu. Like I said, I can't read all of the summary of it's so lengthy. in terms of what she has done, her experience, the job she's doing currently, a few things where she's involved in here and there. But what I'll just do is a quick summary, and we get the conversation going. And as we get into the conversation, I'm sure we'll get to know more about our guest. Janet Adetu is an executive coach, a leadership presence expert. And by the way, she's the CEO of JSK Consulting. Prior to becoming the founder and chief executive of JSK Consulting Group, and of course, Vasex Coaching International, Janet leveraged her growth, because today, again, what we are talking about is career growth. How do you manage your career growth as a professional? So she comes with a rich experience on that topic, and that's why we have brought her in here to talk about this, to answer some questions around that. Janet started her career as a banker. Then she moved into becoming a financial auditor for two top accounting firms, that's KPMG and Ernst Young. Janet uses interpersonal skills and the 360-degree leadership tools to enhance growth and productivity with leaders in part of the work that she does. So like I mentioned earlier, Janet is a Forbes certified coach. She is a council member and brings in over 25 years of experience in learning and development, corporate training, financial auditing, and personal and international protocol with global organizations, and also she comes with a global mindset. She is a board member for several organizations, and she also coaches and teaches people on leadership presence, like I mentioned earlier, employee engagement, and culture building, which she does for several organizations. Janet currently leads a human capital consulting organization, like I mentioned. She is highly sought after. She's a highly sought after motivational speaker, and often volunteers on pro bono basis for coaching for young professionals and a network of other professionals across different spectrums. Janet sits as a director on two boards currently, and she's affiliated to several professional bodies. So please, ladies and gentlemen on this call, as other guests continue to join us, please give a warm welcome. We can just chat into the box. Let's just say a warm welcome to Janet as she does justice to this topic this afternoon. So Janet, thank you for joining us and doing us this.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Dapo.
Now,
and good evening.
Our other guests, we've limited our guests this afternoon to just two. Again, from experience, we found out that when we have a couple of maybe 3 or more guests, we usually don't have enough time to be able to do all of those deep dive and be able to get as much from our guests. So we're limiting our guests just to 2 this afternoon so that we can maximize and optimize the 120 minutes that we have. Our other guest this afternoon is also another astute professional who also holds his own on that space and has done a whole lot of work on the space of career growth development. So he's also an authority who has that latitude of that breadth of experience to be able to talk to us on this subject this afternoon. So please welcome with me Engineer Tope Arowolo. Engineer Tope Arowolo joined the Odua Investment Group as a general manager for property development and management in 2017. He was a non-executive director of the following boards: that's Wema Board Estate Limited, Casino Heights Estate Limited, Westlink Iconic Limited, and also a construction, building, and facility management specialist with over 26 years experience. So we are in for a whole lot of learning this afternoon from Mr. Arowolo. Prior to doing this, Mr. Arowolo, who I will call Tope, joined Lafarge Africa PLC as an individual home builders manager and a construction specialist. So he is a specialist within that space when it comes to construction. He comes with a lot of experience in that space. Engineer Tope graduated from the Federal Polytechnic Bida in 1993. Then he went further to study at the River State University for his postgraduate degree, and eventually also capped it up with a master's degree from the Federal University of Technology in Akure. He has attended a lot of local and international development programs from the Concrete Technology Institute in South Africa and also the Lafarge University in Paris. He is a certified management consultant. He recently left the Odua Group to start off his own organization, which is called Datoch Group as the Chief Executive Officer. He is a member of several professional bodies. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Technologists and Engineering. He's a member of Nigeria Society of Engineering, of Engineers. He is a member of the Institute of Certified Management Consultants. He is a health and safety professional. He's won several awards, one of which is the best professional in the housing innovation category as at 2019. Tope is happily married with children, and his hobbies are reading, traveling, watching football, and listening to good music. Please, can you just help me welcome our guest this afternoon, Engineer Tope, as we just type in a warm welcome in the chat box to him this afternoon. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us. A lot of people are still logging in, but we just set the ball rolling. We have only 120 minutes to spend here together. So I would first like to give maybe a few minutes to our guests. I've introduced them as much as I can, but probably there's one or two things they would like to say about themselves. So I'll give that opportunity, first starting with Janet, to please tell us a few things probably that I have not mentioned and what we also look forward to enjoying from you this afternoon. So please, ma'am, you have the floor. Please go ahead. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dapo. And I want to thank you also for the opportunity to come on this year program today to be able to talk about career talking and to be able to mix and mingle with all the lovely people here in the house this evening. Okay, myself, yes, I'm Janet Adetu, and I think you did actually really cover a lot. But what I wanted to say really is, speaking about career, you know, I started really by studying economics, but I always knew that I wanted to be an accountant. I didn't just want to be an accountant because I studied accounting. I wanted to be a professional accountant. So, and I wanted to be an all-rounder. So I started with economics, and then I decided to go for the professional accounting, not just the degree. I wanted to be certified. And so I am certified with ACCA, the UK body of accounting. And actually, I have been a fellow for over 10 years. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I'm a certified chartered accountant and a fellow with ACCA for well over 10 years. But this is the corporate space, and that's why I worked with KPMG and Ernst & Young. And it was while I was in that corporate space that I noticed some gaps in the corporate industry. And you'd be surprised. You go, you work, you do your job, it's the same old, but are you opening your eyes to opportunities? When I saw a lot of gap in terms of reputational manage, image, behavior and attitude of staff, I knew the impact the lack of this would have on any business. And that's how I ventured into the space of protocol, interpersonal skills, and etiquette, where people call me Madam Etiquette all the time. And it's amazing because people look at it as something that is for the rich and the famous, and they don't see the need for protocol. It's a very important interpersonal skill. Your customers, if they don't get customer satisfaction, they will drop you and leave you with no apology. And so therefore your manners are really important. The way you behave to customers can make or break a business, can seal or break any deal. And that's how I noticed the importance of interpersonal skills in the corporate space, professionally and personally. And I went into that area. And from there, I realized a lot of people had confidence issues, and they will come to me after my training or after my speech, and they will come and talk to me about their inability to present well, to stand in front of people, to talk. And that's what metamorphosized into my art of mentoring. I became a Sherry Blair alumni. I mentored 3 ladies across the globe, across the world, Vietnam, China, and Zimbabwe. And that's what gave birth to the whole art of coaching. So my journey and my career has been purposeful because there's always been a need. So you don't just step into a career for the sake of it. There's always an opportunity that you must be alert to whenever you're doing career move or career change, and try and make your career path, something that flows. You don't just jump from one to another unless it's something that you want as a complete change. And so for me, it's not by accident that I have become an executive coach. It's something that I have journeyed along. I have seen the need, and I tapped into the opportunity. And that's what I want to tell people. Whatever you're doing, keep on looking for the bigger picture. And keep on asking yourself, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And keep on asking the why, why, why. What are you doing this course for? Why? Why are you doing this course? Why? What do you want to achieve? Why, why? And that means always portray yourself with the bigger picture in mind. And that's how I have. And so for me, this career talk is very apt, especially at a time like this with the pandemic and so much uncertainty. Your choice of career 5 years ago might not fit into what is going on around us today. So it's about really being alert, being forward thinking out of the box, around the box, under the box, over the box, you name it, and try to be different. Stand out and dare to be different from the crowd.
Wow. Exciting already. And I'm already taking notes. And I'm very, very confident and sure that our other participants are already also taking notes even from the introductory space. So moving from economics to becoming a professional accountant, and also becoming a professional skills development professional who does etiquettes and also coaching, mentoring, and all of that. Awesome, because again, what we are discussing today is career growth management. And I was just coming out from a program, and interestingly, part of what I said, which were my last word coming out of those programs, is the fact that your career is a journey. And I'm happy that you are reaffirming that your career is a journey, and in the course of this journey, you are constantly looking at what next, what are the needs, you are identifying the needs, you are developing yourself to be able to meet those needs and to be able to create value. So it's not just about jumping from one career to another and all of that. No, it is clearly planned, it is clearly developed, it is clearly determined, and you are working towards all of that. So I love that you talked about the why question, looking at opportunities, and not only taking those opportunities, ensuring you are really bringing value to those opportunities. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And that is really showing in all that you do. we can see all that is true. So thank you so much for bringing all of that into this space. And we are here to have a lot to learn from your experiences. So great. We just throw that on at that point, and I would like to give the floor, or the room rather, to our second guest this afternoon. That's Engineer Tokwe Arowolo. Engineer Tokwe, again, reading your profile, looking at all of what you've done, looking at, like I've said, you are somebody who is really positioned to talk about career growth and management. Please tell us a little about your career. How have you come this far and achieved all of what you have achieved? We want to learn some little more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dapo. A few things you didn't mention when you were trying to do the introduction. I've had a mix of both the local and the international experience. Shortly when I left Lafarge, I worked in a company called JC Decor. Most of the billboards you're seeing today in Lagos, that shows Lagos Transport Information System, where all the projects I started up and completed before I left and joined the Odua Group as a general manager. And also, when I left Odua, before I started my own company as a CEO, I left Odua to join a group of company called Imperial African PLC as a group managing director. So when I joined as a GMT, and I thought within myself, what's next? That's the peak of a career. I think it's a time for me to call it quit with a paid employment and start to develop my own and be employer of labor. So I decided within this year to form my own company as the Touch Group. And you can actually see that within the space of 3 months, we have started, and currently I have about 15 staff within 2 months. And we are doing about 7 different kind of businesses, which all started up all at the same time. And they're currently kickstarted the development of what we're currently doing. And we're doing well with it. So I can see the trajectory of my career as starting up in the construction space. But within the space of going to engineering and construction, I've been into so many other things. And I've been able to do that because of the kind of person that I developed myself to be growing up in my career as a professional engineer. So a lot of things I'll be talking about today will be how did I get to the peak of becoming a GMD of a group of companies? I'll be glad to share my experiences and also be able to share for our listeners to know how they can also tap into such career trajectory and use that as an example for them to also grow as well. So thank you, Dapo.
That's beautiful. Awesome. In fact, that's why we're here. We will really want you to dig deep into that, dig into that so that we learn a couple of things. Remember, like I said earlier, for our participants, part of why we are here is to be able to tap some of the experiences, to be able to also shorten some of the journey that we as individuals are taking. So when you look at the experiences of 1 or 2 persons who have done something similar, it helps to shorten the journey instead of us having to go all through that length of learning and making those mistakes and all of that. So we will truly be looking forward to a deep dive into that and learning all of your experiences all along the line. But thank you for also calling out those areas where I left out. Like I did mention, because of management of time and all of that, I didn't want to read the entire profile, but those were very critical that you called out those very, very impactful. So I love one thing that you talked about. At every point in your career, you are asking yourself, what's next? And I just noted that, what's next? Because I've had interactions with people, had conversations, and in the course of my work, top people in their career, top people from different all of that, who are not please. Apologies.
Hello.
All right. Sorry about
Hello.
that. All right. So sorry
Hello.
about everyone. So asking what's next. Because again, in managing career, people just allow things to happen. Then they begin to ask what's next. Again, part of what I just shared is having a career management. Don't wait oh my. Before you begin to ask the question, what's next? So I just took that out from you. Every time you get into a new role, every time you get into another organization, you're also already asking yourself, what's next? And you are working towards that. Very important. You also talked about continuous development. Very important. Continuous investment. That's also very important. How do you continue to develop yourself? You don't wait until there's an opportunity for the organization to send you on training. That's what I hear you talking about. Yes, those trainings will come, but how do I also, as an individual, open up myself, look out for opportunities and continually develop myself on the go? So I also heard you talk about that at any point in time, you are looking at what are the opportunities, how do I continue to develop? So that's awesome. Thank you for really calling that out. But I also like the point where you said at some point you also took that decision. Yes, at this point, what is next for me? I want to be an employer of labor, which is part of your career journey. At this point, you said, I want to give back. I want to bring in people. I want to share my experience. I want to share some knowledge. I want to bring some additional value. So that is a great question to ask yourself and to bring answers. So thank you for sharing that, Engineer Tokwe. So going back into the topic of this afternoon, and I just go back to our first guest speaker, Janet Adetu. Career growth management. Please, can you help us talk to this topic again? Looking at your experience, you've grown so much in your career, you've come this far. At what point did you begin to think about career growth? So you've talked to us from school, from when you studied economics, you've always wanted to find out at some point moving and all career growth.
I think you might want to mute this person at DPC.
Yeah, but just a minute. Apologies. Okay, please just go ahead. Thank you. So career.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of noise over your question.
Oh my. So career growth management. At what point did you, as a professional, did you start thinking about career growth management, and how have you managed the growth of your career over time? Please, can you help us talk to that?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. All right. The truth is, career growth is a choice. It's up to you how you want to, build your career. Some people you find will stay in a certain career for 20, 25 years, of the fear of moving to uncertainty or moving to another place. They feel very comfortable in their comfort zone. They like where they are, even though they think they could do better, but they're a little bit afraid, anxious about moving. I think for me, in my own journey, I never put fear first. I always put passion and passion to grow first. And so I think when it comes to career, first of all, you should be doing something that you love. You should be doing something that you are passionate about. You should be doing something that, to be honest with you, even if they didn't pay you to do it, you would still do it gladly. And so, therefore, when it comes to growth, it will come very naturally. It's like, what next? What can I do? I want to move to the next level. And like I earlier said, it's always good to have the bigger picture in mind. What is it that you ultimately want to achieve? You cannot just be trotting along and being just a number. You must have a goal in life in general. And I should say that if you are aspiring to be a leader, you should really have a goal that is very, very specific. Like they say, the SMART goal, that goal that speaks to this is what I want to achieve come this day. And it might not be today, it may be in 5 years' time, it may be in 2 years' time, it may be at the end of 2021, but it's realistic and it's relevant, you know? And therefore, for me, I wouldn't say I knew that I would become a coach automatically, because don't forget, how old is coaching? Coaching is even a new area. But so for me, my growth was gradual, but my growth was spurred by the fact that I loved to develop myself consistently. In fact, my children and my husband are like, what are you reading again now, Mom? You're always reading. You should have been a professor, you know? But it's because I believe strongly. It's one of my core values, personal development, consistently developing myself, consistently wanting to know new things, consistently wanting to develop new things. It's no wonder. I train a lot, okay? I train people. So I should be on top of my game. And so what am I trying to say here? For me, my growth started by wanting to be an expert in my field. You cannot be an expert if you're stagnant. So you would always want to learn new things about your field, what's new out there, what can you add to your current knowledge? Because stagnancy is, that's like death. Growth and knowledge is power. And you must be on the spur. It doesn't matter, there's no limit to grow, to learning. So no matter your age, you're always wanting to learn new things. They're medical doctors and they're lawyers, they're consistently learning. So my growth, my career management was birthed by the fact that I always wanted to learn new things and do new things and, try to be different. I didn't want to be the common person. I always wanted to strive. And for me, it's about striving going the extra mile. And I guess also because I always wanted to create, I guess it's within me wanting to be a leader, but I wanted to be a leader with purpose. I have one philosophy in life, and that is to add value to other people. So it hasn't always been about chasing money. No, in fact, that's the secondary. It has always been about wanting to add value to someone else's life. And how can I do that? By being able to lead by example, by being consistent with what I do and the way I deliver, by having standards and qualities, by having and always seeking new challenges. That's for me. And you know that you're growing when people are either headhunting you or people are asking you to come and do something. You will never know. It's always important when people are asking of you, when people are talking about you, it means that you have value to give. There's something that people are looking at from you that they're inspired, they're motivated, right? So I've always wanted to grow only because I've always wanted to add value to other people. And that's how I knew that my career was growing, because I was changing, I was doing new things, I was becoming creative, I was adding value to other people, I was consistent as well. I wouldn't compromise on my values and my standards. I wouldn't compromise on my ethics or my integrity, and those are real traits of a leader. For me, growth in your career stems from who you want to be and who you want other people to perceive you as. Perception is indeed reality. So people will, whether you like it or not, they will perceive you and judge you in a certain way. You are the master of that. So if you want people to perceive you nicely, rightly, you are the leader, you're the mastermind of that. And it's always about wanting to go the extra mile. It's always about wanting to give value to other people, sharing your knowledge. You can't hold on to knowledge because, by the way, as a leader, you cannot learn if you think that you're going to learn it by yourself. You will learn with people around you. You even learn more from your subordinates. It's about really making sure that, you're always talking about what you do. If somebody is talking about what they do and somebody is sort of like married to their job, you know that they're always looking for new things. You know that they want to grow because they're always talking about it and they're very passionate about it, excited to want to go to work in the morning. Guess what? You're not growing in your career if you're like, oh no, tomorrow is Monday. Oh no. Yeah, you see, that means there's something about the career that you have chosen that you just don't like, and maybe it's time for you. Maybe you're in a comfort zone that nothing is happening, everything is flat. I have coached so many people that I've been doing this job for 25 years and I'm tired. What were you doing? What were you wasting time 25 years for? You should have been moving. If it's boring and monotonous, it's time for you to move ahead. If you're wasting a lot of time doing the same old, it's time for you to move ahead. If you're doing it alone and you haven't found a mentor or a coach or somebody to talk to or somebody to support you or somebody to guide you, it's time for you to move on. And that's why I said again, make a decision. What do you really want? Why do you really want it? Be serious about your career. If you're not serious about it, you're stagnant and you can't move. So growth for me is about continuously being passionate about what you do, continuously looking for new things and new skills and new areas of opportunity for you to develop yourself, both personally and professionally. And seriously speaking, if you're doing your job now at work or you own your own business or you're an entrepreneur and you're not going the extra mile, you're still at the status quo, then there's no career growth there at all. It is complete stagnancy. So check yourself, do an audit about where you are today, where you want to be, and what you really need to do to get there. For me, that is a sign of great career growth.
Oh my. I think I need to take a sip of water here.
So I go to that orange and green shop.
To really have this digested and I think
Yes.
other participants on the call. Thank you so much for all of those tips that you've dropped. Written about 20 different tips, but I'll just try to summarize a few of them. You talked passionately about goals, setting goals. You talk about enjoying what you do. We talk about decision. All our callers.
Should I change it now? Or when I'm about to go?
All our callers. You
Change it now.
Please, can you mute?
Yes. Tell him to come and park.
Mute your devices.
I need I need Pampers size 3. Loopy Lou, I bought the
So, mute your device.
yeah.
Can you mute everybody?
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, the auto mute with the host is not working here. We don't know why. All right. So sorry for those disturbances that just came in. So what do you love to do? You cannot grow when you don't love what you're doing. That I think also came in very strongly and also very important. You can't grow. So you must do what you love doing. You must enjoy what you love doing. You talked about values, personal values, and also adding value to other people. So I heard you talk about the fact that part of the reason why you knew you were growing is people come to you for solutions. People come to ask you to say, how do I go about this? How do I? That also tells you that you are developing capabilities, you are developing skills in those particular areas. So you are giving value and people are also coming. So that shows that you are growing in that direction. You talked about extra mile and of course, continuous movement. There's no stagnancy, and that's why it's called career journey, career growth, continually learning new things and going on to implement those things, and of course, a lifelong learning experience. There's so much, like I said, those are some of the things that I have noted, but I also know our participants have also taken one or two things from what you have shared. At this point, so please, if you have questions, we have some questions in already for those who registered for this session. We picked some of the questions that you dropped at the point of registration. But for those who are joining us, please, you can drop your questions in the chat box. And if time permits us, we will have what we call the open mic, maybe sometimes down the line of the session where we can allow people to unmute themselves and ask one or two live questions. But we already have loads of questions. But if you have any other questions as our guests are speaking, please, you may drop your questions in the chat box. We will attend to them. Thank you so much. Engineer Tokwe, we come back to you. I know you were looking forward to let go at that point, but thank you for holding it back and first just telling us more about yourself. So please let it go now. We give you some few minutes to talk more around those growths. You started talking about them earlier. The fact that when you started off your career, even as a professional engineer, in fact, that is very, very impactful for me when you mentioned it. Because again, one of the guests brought in May, for those who were on the call in June, I talked about the fact that one of the things that gave him concern as a professional engineer was he checked all around and he was saying that engineers, technical people are not becoming CEOs, they are not becoming MD of businesses. So he just checked, so what is happening? And that just told him that for him to become what he wanted to be in his career, he needed to begin to understand business. He needed to begin to understand things outside of those technical space. Engineer Tokwe, you've done that. You've become CEO for several organizations, a group of organizations. Today you are running a business. Please let us in. How have you come this far? Can we share some of those experiences?
Okay, thank you. I must appreciate Janet. I used to listen to your program on the radio.
On the radio?
Etiquette with Janet. Yeah. There is no time that I don't listen to it.
Awesome.
Each time my radio is on and it comes on, I always tell my driver, increase the volume of that radio. I want to listen to this program. I don't miss it, except I'm not in the car when I'm listening to that program, Etiquette with Janet. You've been a very wonderful inspiration to your generation, and I must appreciate that. Even the generations coming behind you will continue to appreciate you when they listen to what you're doing. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
There's one so word that I picked so much. Yeah, picked one thing so much from you that I penciled down when you were speaking is passion. A lot of people go into certain career without having passion for it. And there's no way you can grow in your ladder of career without having passion for what you do. You must love your job. You must be able to look at it to say, this job that I do with passion should take me to become a CEO of that company. When I was in Odua, for example, I was reporting to the group managing director, and I told the GMD, I said, after about 2 years, I said, GMD, the only job that can take me away from Odua without going to my own company would be if I see a role like a group managing director like you. And he laughed and he said, well, we wish you know the best. And funny enough, 3.5 years down the line, I got a job as a group managing director of a group of companies that I left and joined that company. I worked for a few months before I also left to start my own company. When you get to that peak of your career, you're going to ask yourself, what is next for me? When I'm in, for example, being a GMD of a company takes me to nowhere again. What do I want to do? I've been board members of directors, I've been non-executives of different companies. I've been GMD of companies. What do I do next? The next thing is for me to see how I can also be an employer of labor. So let me start from engineering career. Dako, what you just said, do you believe that throughout my career, I have never worked in a construction company where the CEOs were engineers? So the guy that said that stuff when you had your last session, that most engineers are not CEOs, the guy is correct. I have worked in local companies as general manager in charge of construction all over I was managing 7 states as a GM when we're building Asaba International Airport and a few other projects in the east and the northern part of Nigeria. The CEO of that company, who is late now, was an accountant. So it's a challenge. Even when we attend our program, the Nigerian School of Engineers and also current assembly, you'll find out that except for
You're muted. You're muted. Engineer Timitoko, you're muted.
all right, are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Dako, I think we need to mute this Ibrahim Mohammed.
Please go ahead. I've muted him. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I signed up as a site engineer when I graduated from school. And site engineer, I was saddled with responsibility to start as a young person who just graduated from school to manage 3 projects. It was a very big challenge for me. And that was where my career started, to say, this is my passion, this is my love, and this is what I have to develop myself to do in managing construction projects. And how do I become a project manager? How do I become a GM in a construction company if I don't become a professional? Apart from going for the professional in the engineering career of becoming a member of current or Nigerian School of Engineers or fellows of Institute Nigerian Technologies in Engineering, I had to go in for project management training. The moment I was given the responsibility of project managing as a site engineer, I had to go immediately to go and develop myself. That same company, I worked in that company for 7 good years before joining PW. Why did PW employ me? Because I developed myself in project management. You don't sit on your oars when you are giving with responsibility without developing yourself, because development that you give yourself takes you to the next level. You want something different, you must be able to do something different. Yes, I've already gotten the qualification as a graduate, but that does not stop there. I need to go and learn how to project manage road projects, building projects, and other civil engineering construction projects before I can grow into the ladder of my career. So that was what I started doing. Immediately, I was given the responsibility to manage projects. And I had a very understanding boss who gave me the opportunity to learn and sent me to training where I had to learn how to project manage. And those are the things that helped me in my career. You need to self-develop the passion that you have. The passion for you to grow, the passion for you to learn, and for you to be able to, teach people on how to become better than even yourself in the course of your career. I've mentored and I've trained many civil engineering graduates, many professionals today who have worked under me over the years and are doing well in their own professional career wherever they found themselves. So the major part of what I have done that helped me is to see myself that this is a chosen career in civil engineering, and I need to develop myself as much as I can so that I can be competitive out there in the market. Because of those developments I've given myself, apart from project management, I've also gone for so many other trainings that it was not the company that sponsored me. I sponsored myself to go and learn. I was privileged to start learning training when I joined PW, an Irish construction company, sometime in 2005. That's the first company that will ever send me to go and train outside the country. But within the space of when I graduated till 2005, all the trainings I had were done by myself. And so that applies to the 70-20-10 rule, that you learn through the job, you learn in the classroom, and you learn from your colleagues. Those are the 70-20-10 rules that apply in the career growth of individual. You don't expect at all times that your company should send you to a classroom to go and train. Train from yourself, learn from your professional colleague, and learn for yourself on the job. That helps you in the ladder of growth in the career. You don't sit and expect that miracle will happen to want to grow without you developing yourself. So what I did was, when I worked in that company for 7 good years, and I grew up, I rose up to become a senior project manager before I joined PW as the head of engineering, managing the Southwest, the Northeast and North Central region, before I now left and worked in the real estate space. What we engineers are trying to do, like I mentioned, is for us to be able to learn how to don't let non-professionals be the one managing. That's a long call for most of us in engineering, that most engineers just sit comfortably and continue to manage projects. They don't think that, and you cannot blame them, because if you want to get into the construction space of getting contracts, you need to be a politician. You need to get to the public space. You need to know the government. Engineers don't know government. Engineers just know how to design and build, design and construct. So you want to be a CEO, you have to be in the politics. Engineers cannot play politics. We don't know how to do that. We just know how to do things and construct. So, but now we can see that some engineers are, striving within their own self to get to that space of aligning with politicians to be able to get contract. Without aligning with them, those jobs will not come. The politicians who are maybe accountants, who studied something else in the University or Polytechnic, are the CEOs you see. Are they CEOs? They are CEOs because they have connection with government to get contracts. So that you don't blame engineers when you are not CEOs. What I am doing myself is because I have spent a long time in the real estate space. I have spent a long time in the construction space. I might not know government, but I know individuals who I can talk with. After a while, that we can liaise and be build for them, do some stuff for them. It might not be big, but we are striving to see how we can also compete in that space. One thing that a lot of us need to learn when we are going into becoming our own CEOs is, do not, like what I'm doing, do not focus only in one business. You need to do cash flow multiple businesses. That even when certain part of your business is not thriving, especially in the construction industry, you have a business that you're doing that is giving you constant cash flow. I'm doing about 7 businesses. I'm into recycling. I'm doing logistic business. I have a tourism company who is doing a lot in the tourism business. I am doing project management. I'm doing facility management. I'm also into construction and property development. So those are about 7 businesses that I'm doing. And all those 7 businesses, at least at every point in time, 4 of them will be running concurrently, which are cash flow businesses that are bringing in huge returns on investment. So let me just summarize about a few things I've mentioned. First is for us to have passion for what you're doing. You need to love the job you're doing. Don't be too comfortable in a particular place for too long. I worked in Odua for 3.5 years. And before I left, I've seen people who have worked in the company for 27 years, and I've asked them, what are you doing in this company for 27 years? Don't you think you need to, and they're not growing. Somebody will be on a role, on a job, on a salary for 10 years, and they don't think like living. And they're not, it's not as if they're comfortable. They complain. And you look at them, okay, what have you done to develop yourself? They have nothing. They are so comfortable sitting down without thinking of, let me go back to school. Let me, like what Janet said, that she's still, for me, I'm also still doing, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm running another master's program in FUTA. And I'll say at my age, at my career as a CEO, what am I still going to learn in school? I just laugh. I said, you need to keep learning and developing yourself. Learning stops when you are dead, or when you don't have the capacity again to learn. I have seen so many people, I've read it over the internet, over social media, someone, 75-year-old man just getting a degree in law. What will a 75-year-old man? That is because that is his dream and passion. And you're not going to blame him. It's the time for him that he feels, this is the time I want to go and study law in the university. And the person graduated at 75 years. So let us look at how we need to, not to be comfortable staying in one place at a time. Yes, you can have, you plan your career yourself. Think that because the moment you enter a company, begin to plan your exit. Because three things will happen. Is that the company exit you? Is that age exit you? Or you exit yourself? You have to start thinking about those three things. You need to plan how to leave this organization, and you set a time limit for yourself. What do you want to do for yourself in the next 3 or 4 years? Do you actually want to remain in this role? Do I want to develop myself to see how people, for me, in my career, I've been so, I can't say privilege or grace. I get too many offers, and I get tired of getting them at some point. That I will be seeing companies calling me in a week. I can see companies knocking on my door, like 3 companies saying, can we have a chat? And I've told them I'm not available to have a chat. And a lot of companies will keep a role for me I've seen a company who have kept a role for me to change my mind for 3 months. To say, we're going to keep this role for you for 3 good months. And if you change your mind within 3 months, we'll be glad to have you in. And I told them, if you keep it for me for 6 months, I'm not going to change my mind. Why? Because I have been able to train myself to an extent whereby I'm one of the best I can find myself in my career space as an engineer. So when somebody is looking for a GMD or looking for the MD of a company, of a real estate company, they always want to knock at my door when they see my career on LinkedIn or they link my career on somewhere else. They say, can we have a chat? And I'm saying I'm not available for any other chat. Now I'm the CEO of my company. It is because I have learned a whole lot. I've been able to train myself. I've worked in a series of organizations whereby I've been privileged to go on both local and international training. And I've also do self-development for myself. So we should learn how not to be too comfortable staying in a place at a time. We should have a plan for our career trajectory to say, at what point should I call it quit and move to the next level? You cannot remain in a particular place for too long. You need to challenge yourself if you have passion for what you do and say, I want to go to the next level of my career. Thank you, Dapo.
That's a whole book. That's a whole book.
Fantastic.
But one thing I just love is, honestly, for our 2 guest speakers today, the energy, the passion is just all over the room. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I also feel I'm very confident that all our other participants are also feeling this energy. This energy, this passion with which you are speaking, it's so awesome this afternoon. Thank you for that. You've just said so many things. So many things. You've talked about development, continuous development, personal development, all shades of development. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Growth can only happen when there's continuous development. Growth can only happen. You can't be comfortable. In fact, there's I can't remember her name, the former CEO of IBM. Forgot her name, one of the former CEOs. She says growth and comfort don't coexist. That's the truth. You can't be in the same room. You can't be comfortable and you expect growth. And that's what happens. Like I said, so many people in their career, they're just comfortable. Okay, let's stay here and let's be comfortable. Yeah, in as much as you should enjoy, you should also get to some point. But then you're always thinking, what's next? Where there's always a new ground to break. That's the truth. There's always a new ground to break. Thank you so much, Tokwe, for that. Learning never stops. It only stops the day we die. That's the truth. Somebody has said we start dying the day we stop learning. Another reality again is maybe in the past people can be in an organization and just coast along and just be there and just marking time. Again, organizations don't have that patience again today. People want to know, organizations, leaders of business want to know what value are you bringing? And if you're not bringing value, I pack you aside or set you aside and I bring in somebody who is going to bring value. So all of that you mentioned 70, 20, 10, very critical, very critical. Learning on the job, learning on the go, learning on daily basis and all of that. Distinguished participants and our guests, we've gone 60 seconds already, how time flies. And we're already on the second journey of the next 60 seconds. So the time is quickly ticking. There are a couple of questions. I'll check the chat box again to see if we have additional questions. But there are a couple of questions that have gone in earlier. And I think whilst Janet was speaking earlier, she already answered one of the questions, but I'm going to ask it again. Somebody did mention that this thing about career growth, how do I really know that I am growing? I know you talked about that, you alluded to that part of the thing, part of the reason what really tells you that you are growing is, yes, you are learning new things, people are coming to you for solutions and all of that. But again, please, I would like you to spend maybe another 1 minute on that. Really picking on that question. How do I know that I am growing? Physically, if I'm growing tall, at least I can see it.
Okay.
But career, I can't see it physically. So how do I know
Okay.
I am growing? Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. All right, no problem. So so briefly, I will just say, you know if you're growing by seeing a few signs. For instance, if you're working for an organization and to start with, your annual review, performance review is consistently above average, you know what I mean? Then you know you're getting better at what you do. You'll also know that you're growing if you've been opportune to take leadership roles. That means you're getting promoted, right? And you're moving up the corporate ladder, so to say. So you're moving from graduate trainee to manager to senior manager. You're moving up. You can see that physically through the job titles that you begin to get. And more importantly, the more responsibility that you're given in an office space, you know that your career is growing or that they can rely and they can trust in you. You know that you're growing because you're facing more, you're being given more challenges, more solutions. You know that you're growing because maybe you become a team lead, they're giving you that leadership role, you become a team leader, you now have from 1 to 5 subordinates underneath you, and you know that now, all right, you know that you're growing definitely if people are looking for you, if people are headhunting you, and you're sitting in your little corner there, just like Engineer Temitope said, people are after him. That means there's something that he's adding value to, and the fact that he's indeed growing in his career because he's of high demand, highly sought after. All right, you know also that you're growing because you've become more of an expert in your field. You can close your eyes and that job, you know it very well. That means that there's room for more things to do. You've mastered almost everything about your job. And now there's room for you to even go and learn more things. That way you know you're growing. You know you're growing when you are hungry for more information. I love what Engineer Temitope said about, he doesn't wait for the organization to send him on a training. He goes out there and he looks for those trainings himself. You know that you're growing when you know that, I need to seek more information about this. or you know that you're growing when the next job for you is one that requires you to get additional information. You quickly go and talk about this role. You quickly go and do some research about the role. You quickly go and learn some new skills in readiness for that role. That for me is a growth trajectory that says yes. And you know you're growing when, for example, that technology is now the in thing. You have been compelled to learn something new that will help your role, that will help your job. Wow, you're growing, you're learning something new to be able to apply it to your everyday work schedule. So growth is no stagnancy. Growth is continuous knowledge acquisition, continuous skill acquisition, and continuous job application. All right. So you're applying every time you're given an opportunity to apply something new, then you're growing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for throwing more light on that. And I'm very sure whoever asked that question is listening. So you will know when you are growing, really. When more is being demanded, like you said, when you are feeling the capacity to do more, and you are also knowing that there's something new to learn and you're going to learn them and you are applying. And most importantly, again, I think one of the radar, one of the measure which both of you have spoken so passionately about is also around us. We can check. So when people come to you, when people ask you questions, when people refer things to you, even within the organization where you work, when you become the subject matter expert in that area. No, we can't take this decision except we speak with Janet. But we are thinking about this project. Can we hear from Tokwe what he feels and all of that? All of those are telltale signs of the fact that you are growing. And like we said, growth is deliberate, as they mentioned. You can't just sit down and expect it to happen. It is painful, it is deliberate, but at the end of the day, the joy and the value that it brings are just so enormous. Thank you so much for dealing with that question. Please, for our participants, again, like I mentioned, if you have other questions, probably you want to direct it to any of our guests. Please put it in the chat box and we will pull it out and ask them to speak to it. Right, I come to you, Tokpe, Engineer Tokpe. Thank you for all you have shared already. Looking at your experience, somebody asked here, and I think Janet alluded to this generally, the pandemic that happened last year and all of that. At that point, people began to also now begin to look at their career. That was like a wake-up call to a lot of us professionals to say, oh, things are changing, the market is changing, the demands for jobs are changing and all of that. So somebody is asking that there's a general slowdown in terms of opportunities for career advancement during this period. So what steps should I take to be able to sustain my career in times like this? I know you've mentioned some of them, but I'm just taking this question back from part of what you have mentioned. So just to be specific again, so you've shared your experience. Even at this time before now, a couple of organizations have been coming to knock on your door to ask you for this. But again, generally, we know there's a general shortage of opportunities and all of that. Things are slowing down. But this person is asking, what should I be doing during this period to make myself competitive? You want to help us talk to that, sir?
All right, Dapo, thank you very much. Since 2020, that's from last year, we see that COVID and post-COVID has taught us a lot of lessons. It has made us to know that with or without you, there are a few things that can happen in an organization. So we now call it the new normal. The new normal is now post-COVID experience, where technology has taken over the whole world. Now, a lot of people are, being agitated about what they want to do with their career going forward. And what they have forgotten is that a lot of people have been left behind because COVID has changed the narrative of what the workspace is all about. So what we see right now is that the fear of people that refuse to move forward from where they used to be will struggle within this period. You will struggle because you also did not understand that things have moved from where it used to be in 2019. It has changed to what it is now in 2021. What am I saying? We need to understand that the world is changing. We are developing now in technology. If you don't develop your technology experience, you will be left behind. You will be left behind. We will say today we can work remotely. How do you work remotely when you don't have the experience on how to be able to do your work in a new technological way? Not when you come to the office and sit down. People work from home these days and they still get paid and still deliver results. For a couple of months this year, within 2020 and 2021 this year, a lot of companies are still doing skeletal operations and majority of their staff still work from home. People were laid off. A lot of people lost their job. I'm sure no company wants to lose someone who has developed his or herself in a technology way to be able to deliver and do their job without coming to sit down in the office. We need to understand that things has moved. You need to move with time. If you remain behind, you'll be left behind. Develop yourself in a way that you'll be relevant. Technologically, you need to be there in that space. You need to perform and know that you can do your job without your boss seeing you. What your boss wants to see is results. As long as you're delivering the numbers. I remember when we were in Lafarge, you call it delivering the numbers. If you are delivering your numbers, nobody will ask you, where are you working from? Because you already created that experience, that knowledge to be able to deliver your job without being in the public space. You sit in the comfort of your room with your system and your laptop and do your job and deliver results there in and there then. So what I'm saying is we need to understand that things have changed post-COVID. And in this era, you need to be technologically sound to be able to move to get to where what do you call them? Employers see you as somebody who can deliver results without showing your face. Thank you, Dapo.
Okay, thank you so much for just making that very concise. So we should also continue to leverage technology and don't be left behind. And like you also mentioned, I think there's this saying that says the best time to plant a tree was maybe probably last year, some years back, or the other best time or better time is to plant it now. Yeah, so I think one of the benefits, I call it benefit, of the lockdown, the COVID of last year, was the fact that COVID has come to accelerate the future we're looking at. And COVID has also come to teach us some things that probably we would not have paid attention to or pay some attention to learning, as it were. So with the experience of COVID, we have seen that the world of work even as we know it, has changed significantly. So thank you for calling all of that up. And you also mentioned the fact that you need to continue to develop your skills and future-proof your skills. You need to continue to future-proof your skills. So your organization may not ask you to go because your performance is bad. The organization may not ask you to stop working because somebody did not like your face. But technology might just come up today and the business which you are in or that space, we call those the Potter starting forces and all of that, that impact businesses and all that may just happen. So how do we continue to develop our skills to continue to be relevant? so that we continue to future-proof our career. Thank you for that. So the opportunities might be slow. There might not be as much as possible. For what I hear you saying is continually making yourself relevant, continue to develop yourself. Thank you. We move to the next question. We just have about 40 minutes or thereabouts as we begin to coast home. And my next question for Janet will be, now we'll talk about career growth, career development, managing my career and all of that. And a lot of people are talking about having a second career, or what we also popularly call a side hustle, as part of survival and as part of career development and advancement generally. You have moved across different professions. You are also multitasking, if I use that word. So you're on separate boards, different boards, doing a whole lot of a couple of other things, and you are running an organization. How are you doing this? How do you achieve this? Please let us know. So within the context of that question, how should I be thinking, or what should I be thinking about a side hustle? Can I have two careers at the same time? Let's share your experience.
Okay, that's a great question. So the thing is this: you have a career that you're pursuing, or I would say a talent or a training, so to say, and then the side hustle really is, aside from your true core career, you're doing other things to keep you busy, earn more income, add more value, so to say. Now, when it comes to side hustle, you need to be very careful not to do that thing that's going to distract you from your core. That's number one. And you need to do something as a side hustle that probably is your passion. Now, there are so many people that have different side hustles. There are some people that are lawyers, and their side hustle is they do tailoring. I know quite a few executive ladies that actually have fashion design outfits. They don't do the sewing, but they have this creative mind, and they have tailors who actually man it. I even know people that have hairdressing salons and things. Sometimes a side hustle is always good to be that thing that is birthed out of your passion. So you're sort of like testing the waters, seeing if this is something that you really want to do. And you're starting it slowly, no real major commitment in terms of finances. And so that the whole idea really is that if you decide to now want to go that route, you've tried and you've tested it, and you've seen the highs and the lows, and you're now more confident to go into that space. Now, it could be anything. So for me as an individual, what would I even say is my side hustle? Now, I don't do food or anything. I have a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of passion. But, side hustle here is actually related to those people that actually want to make a little extra income, okay? Now, you would say for me, I started as a facilitator where I train, okay? And my organization does recruitment and outsourcing as well. The extra that I thought about during COVID was really what made me be more embedded. I started coaching, right? But I wasn't doing it on a full-scale basis. COVID, like Engineer Timitokwe said, COVID, the pandemic, the new normal, just birthed this whole idea of coaching full-blown. Why? Because it is internet-based, it is online, it is remote. I don't need to go across town to meet my clients. And if you're looking for any kind of side hustle, it should be that one that doesn't take you out of your comfort zone too much. So for me, coaching became an extra. I wouldn't look at it as a side hustle, but maybe in other words, it probably was that now has metamorphosized into a major business for me now. Because I was always coaching, but in those days we have to go and see our clients physically. It was one-on-one. But guess what? COVID has made this whole art of coaching even so much more beautiful. I did hundreds of coaching during the COVID because it was remote. Now, when it comes to side hustle again, I had the passion, I loved it, I did it more. So what are you looking for in a side hustle? Can you have two careers? Of course, maybe they blend. So my coaching is actually blended with my training. Guess what? A lot of companies have stopped doing physical training. And because I started doing coaching online, guess what? Training is also online. And so everything just started blending together. There's more virtual training now because of the situation that we find ourselves in, and it's just the new normal. So you may be looking for that side hustle that will not take you out of your comfort zone, which can definitely be two careers. So what is it? You could be selling something online. Yes, using the technology that we have today as your extra side hustle, fantastic. You don't have to go anywhere. Take pictures of it. And now the new logistics of transportation will help you. All right. You might even be, so for us now, some people say coaching, mentoring online is a new side hustle that has metamorphosized into a new career. Like I said, you may have old things in your wardrobe you don't need. You put them out there like on eBay. That's an extra income from you. It's a side hustle. You sell things that you're not using anymore at home. That's a beautiful side hustle. Okay, selling things. Hey, maybe you love cooking. And there are some people that like to order. Maybe on the weekends, you cook certain meals for people. When I used to live in Nairobi, we used to have a chef that comes in. He cooks food for 2 weeks and everything is frozen. And that was an extra side hustle for him because he was a chef in a hotel. He was a chef in a hotel, but he used to go to people's houses because we were so many Nigerians looking for certain Nigerian food. He would come cook pots of so many things for you, make meat pie, you freeze it, so many dishes, you freeze it for 2 weeks, and on sure he was making in the hotel. And that was indeed his side hustle. Maybe there are things that you're freelancing. There's a lot of people that now freelance. You could be a HR personnel, you freelance. You could be a graphic artist, you freelance. You could be an admin assistant and you do virtual assistants and you freelance. Your side hustle doesn't even need to take you out of your comfort zone. All you need to do is make out time and dedication for that extra freelance, and you will enjoy it. It will just blow up into that new profession. And there's so many opportunities out there for people who are looking. Maybe you love teaching, so you can do tutoring or lecturing, as so to say, and now virtual, and maybe maybe it's very important to recognize where you can enjoy that side hustle, because truth be told, remote working is the new normal. Your side hustle is remote. You can do anything you like. So look at Instagram, my goodness. People are selling so many things. I have met so many people who are lawyers, accountants, who work in banks, and they have a side hustle. They have a side hustle, they're selling bags, they're selling whatever, and they use the Instagram to just show pictures. People buy, they send it to them, you can pay transportation and all of that. And honestly, that is another side hustle. And you'd be amazed at what you can do or get as your new extra income. Maybe you're into properties and you have a room or two or whatever, somewhere that is lying fallow, lying low, whatever it is. You want to rent it out, earn some income from that. There are so many opportunities, not to mention social media is there for you at your beck and call to do so many things. So I think we in the coaching space, we are enjoying the remote working. And like I said, I've mentioned quite a number of areas where you can actually increase your income by one or two extra side hustles, and you'd be amazed. Now, why I'm saying this is because back in the days, you'd have so many desires, so many passions. I wish I had time, I would be doing this. I wish I had time, I would be doing that. Now you have the time, now you have the opportunity, and more importantly, you actually have the platform in which to do it. I used to have one of my staff working for me, interestingly, and one day I was talking about getting somebody in to talk to my staff about negotiation, social media, and all of that. And I noticed when the person came in, she generated so much interest about social media, selling, and all of that. Later, I called her and I said, what's this interest that you have? And she opened up to me and she said, she actually sells online on Instagram. And what does she do? Amazingly, she grates garlic and ginger and makes it as a blend and bottles it and puts it in a container, and she's selling it on on Instagram. I thought, wow, ingenious. Yeah, because people need it for their cooking. And that's what she does. So she sells it and it's amazing. Another side hustle. Not to mention the fact that you could be selling jewelry, you could be selling anything. The choice is yours, man or woman alike. I would say bring out what your hobby is in finding your side hustle.
Grateful.
Interesting.
Really, really interesting. The exciting thing about this is, again,
Dapo, sorry, can I say a few things again?
on this. Okay, right.
Sorry, yes, on that. Just
go ahead.
something.
Yeah.
Janet, you're spot on. And I really appreciate everything you've said. Dapo, you know one thing, everybody now is a salesman and a saleswoman.
Mm.
I said it in the few times I've had conversation with a lot of professionals.
Mm.
And I've said everybody who wants to grow, forget about your corporate world. You must have something you are selling.
Mm-hmm.
You must have something that you're selling.
Mm.
That's your side hustle. And I knew that long time ago. That I said, you must have something that you're selling. Social media these days has gone crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to leverage on social media to do what you want to do and sell. You just be in the comfort of yours. Because most of us these days buy things online. People don't have time again to go and show up here and there because of COVID. You buy things online.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that dimension, for adding that to it. Again, aside from even back in, because again, this is talking to professionals and all of that, you rightly alluded to the fact that we're all selling something. You may not even be selling an article, a physical product or whatever. Even right there in the office, in the organization where you're working, you're selling your service. You're selling your value. And that's what is going to expose you to either better opportunities and all of that. So I think you rightly added that topic to the fact that we are all selling something and we should understand how to sell it and sell it properly. But Janet, thank you so much for all what you've shared. Yes, we did talk so much about side hustle, but I love the fact that you called out the fact that if you want to do a side hustle, in as much as it is not at variance or in conflict, or you allow it to deter what you are doing normally professionally. So if you're working for an organization and you need to be at your desk between this hour to that hour, and because you want to have a side hustle and you are using that time, I think that is ordinarily ethically wrong. Right. So you could have your side hustle and all of that in as much as one, you are not using the resources or the time for the organization to do it, or it is not in conflict with the business that your organization is doing. It should also be passion driven, because most people who have, and I love the fact that you called out that most people that run businesses today, multi-million, multi-billion businesses, started off as something they just have a passion for, a side hustle. So let me just do this by the side. And as it keeps growing, as it keeps improving and all of that, it gets to the point where the person says, oh, okay, I think I will do this full time because it requires all my time, my energy, my resource to be able to grow this. So great. Thank you for calling out freelancing, remote working, and all of that. All these are opportunities that probably were not there before or we didn't pay attention to. So you could have two careers and really thrive in them. Thank you for calling that out. Now, I need to see how we optimize and use the remaining 30 minutes. I've seen a few questions, I will call them out. But before I go into the questions in the chat, Tokwe, I want to ask this question because in the course of your career, we're talking growth here, you've taken some risk. You move from some roles, from established role, you were CEO for a group of organizations, stable, and at some point you decided to say, no, I want to do something different. You move from multinational organization to say, no, I don't want to move in that area again. I want to do something with a local organization. So you've taken some risks. So someone is asking here, taking chances and risks in life and in career could be difficult. How do you balance the desire for risk and the stability of staying safe in your career journey? So our career is a journey. How do you balance that risk appetite and that desire for growth? How do you balance it with that need? Again, the truth is we want to be safe. If you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of need, the first thing is about safety. So, sorry, first survival, then you're talking about safety, then you begin to talk about social, all of that self-actualization. Very important, we must be safe. How do you balance that when you are taking risk? And maybe you want to share one or two things.
All right, let me share one or two experiences.
Decisions. Yes.
All right, thank you, Dapo. You cannot grow in the ladder of your career without taking the risk. You are developing yourself. You want to move from a particular role to another role. That role might not be available in your company where you currently work. In Lafarge, for example, you're working in Lafarge as maybe a construction specialist. Let's take it as an example. That's a role in Lafarge. Right. And because of your experiences and your knowledge, if Dangote is calling you to come and be a general manager sales, that's an example. Okay, you're going there to go and be a general manager sales. And the traction first is you're getting a higher role. The second traction is you're getting a higher pay. Now, you spent a couple of years in Lafarge. You're comfortable with everything around Lafarge. Lafarge has trained you. You've gone to so many countries while you're working in Lafarge as a construction specialist. But now Dangote, based on your experiences that you've had, we all understand that even Dangote as a company has limited experiences in training staff. But Lafarge trains. My years in Lafarge, I traveled to a couple of countries going for training within my 5 years in Lafarge. And now going to join Dangote as an example is a risk. A risk because you're going to a new environment. You're going to take a new job. You never can tell what an environment looks like until you get there. You take up some job, go and take a risk to go and join an organization. You get there and you find yourself in soup and asking yourself, why did I take this decision? However, it's something that possibly could happen in the course of a career that you're taking chances on yourself. You're taking this risk because you feel it's worth it. So when you take that risk, you don't have to regret taking it because you plan for it. You asked for it. You've grown in your career. You want to move to the next level. The next level you want to move to is not available in your workspace. The next thing is somewhere in another company is asking you to come and take up that role. You're glad to go and join that company. It's a risk. For example, you work in First Bank. A GT Bank is asking you to come and take up the role of a manager, where maybe you are an assistant manager for like 5 years. You're going to join GT Bank as a manager with increase in salary and increase in a promotion in your role that you currently have in where you're working. That is also a risk. The last one I'm going to mention is me as an example. I left Odua to go and join a group as a group managing director of a company, living a comfort zone where I have every comfort for myself, chaffer-driven, opportunity, good salary. I'm going to join a group managing director of another company, higher salary as well, and also a new environment. I took that risk. I got there, and I found out that the risk was not worth it. You can see the risk. I left to go and join the group managing director. I didn't know that how that company looks like, but I found out when I got there that even the higher pay and also the environment is not worth leaving that company to come and join. That was a great risk I made. However, when I worked in that organization for a couple of months and I decided I was going to call it off, a risk for me to also say I want to go and start up my own company. The company was not owing me salaries. The salaries were huge, but I took up that risk to go and start my own. And now I'm running my own business and I'm comfortable around it, that the risk I took is worth it. So how do we balance it? You balance it because you cannot go to another ladder of your career without taking a risk. Changing a role from one place to another, especially if you are leaving a company, is a risk because you don't know what the company looks like. It might not be a great place to work. It might be a toxic environment. Your boss might be, like we said, you people don't work for companies, they work for their boss. Your boss might be a micromanager. When you get there, you don't feel comfortable waking up in the morning to go to work every day. You find yourself that, yes, I have taken up a bigger role, I've taken up a bigger pay, I've taken a big risk, but the risk is not worth it. So, conclusively, there's no way you want to move from one career to another, especially if it's not the same organization. Are you hearing me, Dako?
Yeah, talk about okay. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you for that. Like someone rightly said, life is a risk. Really. Same thing with career. In fact, why most people get stuck or they get apathetic, they're not happy with what they're doing and all of that, again, is because they don't want to take a risk. But life, career itself is a risk. And it's rightly said, not taking a risk itself is a risk. Not taking a risk itself is a risk. So, but I think the bottom line from what you have said and also sharing your own experience is the fact that you may not need to take those risks blindly. So as much as possible, surround yourself with information. And when you take the risk, sometimes it doesn't work out, which is normal occurrences in life. There are some decisions we take, there are some things we do and all of that. It doesn't work out the way we want it. Again, it's your career. So continue from there. What next? So I've seen people take career decisions before and it didn't work out well. At that point, they just close out and say, oh, I've taken a bad risk or I've taken a bad decision. Yes, you've taken it. So take another one. Great. Thank you for sharing this. I also just want to mention at this point, because this is also very critical. And in one of the work that Fast Track Academy does, which is the career planning and pathing program. This is also one of the important things we talk about, part of the module that we talk about, and also bring in professionals and all of that we share the experience around. It talks about the fact that your career as a business, you must have a career continuity plan, just like any business. You must have a career recovery plan because things will happen in the course of career. You may take some risk and it doesn't work out well. So do you just sit down at that point and say, I'm not going to continue again? No, you must have a career recovery plan and you must also have a career management plan. Those are the things that helps you to build resilience across your career. For those who would just like to look more into that and probably know more about the program, I'll drop the link in the chat box. You can look at that in the website and have some more understanding of that particular program. I will take a pause now from asking questions, and I just want to, Janet, you are a coach, you are a mentor. And I was coming to this earlier before Topet took it out of me to mention also your radio program, a couple of other programs that you run. Our participants would like to know more of some of the things you do around career management, around coaching, around your radio talk show, a couple of other things that you do. Please, in the next couple of minutes, can you just share a little about
All
it
right.
before we come back to some of the other questions?
Okay, absolutely. Yes, I do run. Thank you so much for that, Dapo, and thank you so much to Engineer Tim Tokwe. All right, yeah, I do quite a number of things. I run a radio program, Etiquette with Janet. Interestingly, I started 7 years ago, and I was doing Etiquette with Janet on Beat FM. I'm still doing Etiquette with Janet on Beat 99.9 FM and Classic 97.3 FM every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It runs across early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 9:55 in the morning. There's also 1:30 and there's a 7:55, depending on which channel you're on. I also used to do a ladies etiquette on City FM, 105.1 FM. I was doing wedding etiquette on Nigeria Info, 99.3 FM, I think that one was. And I was doing business etiquette on radio channel 3. You can imagine how much that was bringing out of me. And for 2.5 years, I did Etiquette with Janet on Sunrise Saturday mornings, every Saturday mornings for 2.5 years. And I think for 2 years as well, or over 2 years, actually, I have been doing Etiquette with Janet, not Etiquette with Janet, but the etiquette host on Wake Up Nigeria every other Thursday. Now, of course, with COVID now and the fact that the station got burnt down at some point, cross over to Magodu. They asked me to come back again, but I'm thinking about it because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And of course, I also had a column for 5 years in Business Day, Business Etiquette with Janet in Business Day every Friday. And I also had a column in Sunday Vanguard, Social Etiquette with Janet every Sunday. So that was a lot of work. And that's why I said we were so much into media and media promotion. Now, I did all of this because I had a message to communicate. So whether you're talking about the business, the social, ladies, I even have my own radio channel, actually Panache FM online channel. You can tune into that, just check it out online, Panache FM online. We have a lot of programs on that too, where I'm about to start gentleman's etiquette, because I think there's very important aspect for well-being of men and the etiquette around being a leader. It's not just to be a leader, it comes with many other things, and you'd be surprised how much information is needed for men in that space. Now, I did all of this, like I said before, because I have a message to communicate, all right? And now it's on the back of teaching interpersonal skills that we found that a lot of executives need confidence coaching, they need high performance coaching, they need executive presence coaching. And that's where I have now infused all the etiquette and protocol training into coaching, because you need to be coached into it. You'd be surprised that you don't know what you don't know until somebody presents it to you. They're like, really? I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. So I do coach quite a number of executives now that by the time I finish talking, they're like, wow, I didn't realize that. And so that's why a coach will hold your hand, a coach will challenge you, a coach will be curious, a coach will make sure that, there are things that you haven't thought about and make you start thinking over and beyond the space you're in now. So it's about creating new ideas for yourself, thinking over and above where you are now, and going to pursue your real, true potential. So that's really what I do now, speaking in the same space. I haven't let etiquette go. I have just repositioned it in a way that people will see the value in what I deliver.
Absolutely.
So I'm very mindful of time.
The value chain on that space is so wide, so wide. And obviously, we can see you are doing so much within that space. So please, if it is possible, maybe if there are links or whatever that you want to share, you can just please drop it in the, I've also made you a co-host. You can just drop them in the box.
Links. So if anybody has a question, let me just put an email there. If you have a question or inquiry or anything, let me put my email there. You can definitely reach out to me. I'll be always happy to. Let me just put my coaching email there, HPX Coach, and please, so that I know that it has something to do with what I'm doing.
Thank you so much. So please, our participants, if you like to talk more within that space, etiquette, coaching, and all of that, and you'd like to reach out to Janet, please feel free and take it off from there. Engineer Tokwe, you just started up a business. You want to tell us more about this organization, what you do, what are the products, what are the services? We are not, I'm sure we don't have, okay, don't let me say that. We may not have most or the big money bags and all of that in here yet. But again, someone somewhere out there might need your services. Please tell us more about your organization, what you do, and if there are specific products or services that you do offer that can be beneficial.
Okay, thank you, Dapo. The Touch Group is more like a startup. I think it's a dream that I have been trying to, come up with within the last 2 years. I've been planning, but the interest that I need to keep adding value to corporate organizations and all that did not give me the chance to make up my mind on deciding that I need to start today.
All right.
But the day I woke up one morning, I decided that I think it is the end to corporate salary earning, to start up my own company. That was when I made up my mind on the 4th of May to start up my company. The company has been registered for quite some time. The Touch Group has been there, but I've not been using it for anything. It's just there and planning to put it in place and start up something. But the moment I decided that I was going to start up, I pulled out not less than 7 professionals to join me on the same day that I started up, because they believe in me. The guys did not, the moment I said I'm resigning and I want you guys to come and join me, they also left their respective organizations to come and join me. 7 of them joined me the same day. So we started up big, as in we started up with 7 different businesses. Today we are doing logistics, we are doing tourism, we are into construction, we are doing project management, we are doing facility management. The major part of our job is we have a factory now in Ibadan that is doing recycling of waste products. That just started up. We started up in May. We put all the equipment in place, put the factory in place, and we launched our group office last week in Ibadan headquarters. Because Ibadan is easier to do business. Lagos is completely saturated. And how do we move people away from Lagos to come and do things in other areas? Is to establish businesses in other places apart from Lagos. We must not all be in Lagos. We must not all be in Lagos. Let us all also establish in Abeokuta, go and establish in Akure, so that we can also pull people out of Lagos. The traffic is too much. Let us all come and do things somewhere else. So that was the thought of me leaving Lagos in May to come to Ibadan and put up my company headquarters in Ibadan. And I still have my branch office in Ikeja, but the main head office in Ibadan, which was launched this week on Monday officially. And I have about, now I can say that I have about 15 staff that are working in all those businesses that we do. So we are into construction, we develop real estate, we manage facilities, we are doing recycling, we are doing facility management, we are doing logistic business. So that's what we do now in the Touch Group.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a very bold move. Very bold move. So I'm sure we didn't make a mistake when we asked you earlier about those risk-taking questions. That's a very big step. That's a very big risk. We wish you the very best as you launch this out. And one thing you talked about, which is also very critical, very important, in career planning, in career development, in career growth is trust. Trust. So if someone will speak to people who have jobs, these days we're talking about job security, as we just holding on to what you have, what we are sure of. To say, come join me, I want to start this new venture. I've not started yet, but I'm thinking about, please come and join. And you have people just come. I think you must have a very, very big trust bank account that you have been able to draw from. So I think that's also very important for us on this call, all as professionals, as we build reputation, as we build our growth, our development in our different careers. I think that trust element is very important. So thank you for sharing your experience. We're very, very confident that, again, in the future, I'm very sure we'll bring you back to come and tell us again, how has it been? Probably the next 6 months, over the next 1 year and all of that, we will have that opportunity to share and learn a few new things. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, we have a few minutes. We have a few minutes to wrap up. Before I talk about, we begin to look at the closing remarks and all of that. Please, for our participants, we've dropped in a feedback form. Again, we want to continue to improve this process. We want to continue to improve this platform. Please give us some feedback. What do you want to see improved and all of that? And we'll continue to work on that. Excellence for us is not a destination, it's a continuous journey. So please tell us, what are the things you would like to see in future, at the future show of this particular event. So please share with us. And Janet has also dropped her email there. Please drop that. And Tokwe has also dropped his email there. Please reach out to them. This is rare opportunities to have these professionals. And you never can say a mentoring, a coaching opportunity can just start from this platform. So thank you, gentlemen and lady, for sharing that. As we begin to bring it home, somebody asked a question, and I will want Janet to just quickly answer that in a minute. As an employee, you are in an organization, and this opportunity for development is not just happening. And I know Tokwe talked about that earlier, that you should also find, how do I develop myself in the job that I do and all of that. But the organization is not interested in training, nothing, just to show. What do you do in that kind of environment, in that kind of situation? Yeah, there are no other opportunities. That's where you are at that moment. But there's just no opportunities for development, for career development, for growth, for improvement coming from the organization. So that 10% that we talked about is not just there. What can you do?
Oh, you see, it's interesting because when I do interviews, people tend to say, I'm looking for an organization where there's an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to, and they say opportunity to grow. They don't even say opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow. And then some will say opportunity to learn. The thing is this, don't sit and wait for any organization to want to spend on you for you to develop. The world is your oyster. You can learn. So you're in an organization and they are not ready to train you. Why don't you just use the opportunity to train yourself? Why? Because back in the days, we used to use thousands of dollars to do certain courses and all of that, if you have the money. But today, because the internet has so much information out there, wow, with all these Udemy and all these platforms to learn new things for free, what are you waiting for? You know, some of them will give you the opportunity to do the course. And then guess what? You can, if you want to get a certificate, you can pay extra money. During COVID, that's what we were doing. We were zoomed in and zoomed out. Amazingly, during COVID, I did a course at Harvard Business School. I did a course at Washington University. And you know, and then I did another course at the University of Yale. Places where I never dreamt I would even step into. I was able to do them online because it was a mission for me to develop myself. So, my dear, whoever's asking that question, Google. There are courses that are very expensive. At the same time, those same courses are there for free on another platform. It's just about research. That same thing that you want to learn, you can get it at an affordable price or at a cheap price or even for free. And you'll be spoiled for choice. So don't sit and wait. This is the time for you to learn new things. It's the time for you to unlearn old things. And it's a time for you to relearn things that you even forgot about, that you need to brush yourself up on. So learning never stops. The world is your oyster. It's the tip of the finger now. It's touch and go. What are you looking for? Google. So many things will come out. You'll be surprised. You even be amazed. What you don't know is, I mean, like they say, you don't know what you don't know until you start your research. You'll be surprised at how many things come up. Not to mention articles. Articles are there in abundance, right? Blogs are there in abundance, and courses are certainly there in abundance. So don't wait. If I were you, I would even be doing my training secretly. I wouldn't even tell my organization that I have these extra certificates. Because at the end of the day, when new job opportunities come and people will be looking at you like, how can you apply for that job? You don't even know. They don't know that you've been packing your certificates in one corner somewhere there, which might not be useful now, but I can guarantee you there'll be, you'll be able to maximize all those personal trainings to the best of your ability. When job opportunities come, you just bring them out one by one and you shock everybody and even surprise yourself at the same time too. I've seen that many a times where people are doing secret courses by the side. Nobody knows. People just think or perceive that you only have this knowledge. But whereas you are on your career journey, and please pursue it now with passion because greater heights are there for you to achieve.
What an interesting way to sum it. It's your career. I tell people, it's your career. For whatever organization you work for, it is your career. Own it, work at it, work very hard at it, build what you want to see, have a clear future, and work at it every day. Janet, in 1 minute, we've come to the end of the show again. Like I said, 120 minutes just goes in a jiff. Your passing or your closing, I don't want to say remark.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you to quickly bring out a pen and paper, everyone that's listening now. And I'm going to leave you with some C's that I think are the most valuable C's for you to grow as a leader in your career. Right. And there are about 12 C's. And honestly, and I'm going to bounce them out quickly. It's important for you to have clarity in whatever you do. Build your character because your character is your destiny. You must begin to make sure that the way you communicate, you must communicate well with people all around you. You never know who holds the key to your future. Stay connected with people. That means continue to network. Develop your capability even beyond your own expectation. Be compassionate about what you do. Be committed all the time so that people can see you. Even when you don't see them, people are seeing you. Have courage. Don't wait for anyone. Build your courage, pursue with courage, all right? You must be consistent in everything you do. Maintain high standards always. If possible, be curious. Ask more questions. That's the way to learn. And finally, it's very important to find a coach.
Whoa, I got 11. I must have missed one. But I'm sure I will find it.
About 12. So okay, the last one I would say, if you want to add that 12th one, really is being cognizant. And when I say cognizant, watch your behavior, watch your emotions, be very cognizant of your strengths, and be empathetic, all right, in everything that you do. Work with emotions. Emotional intelligence is key. So cognizance is the last one.
Thank you so much. Okay. final word, closing word. You said
Okay.
so much.
Thank you, Dapo, and thank you, listeners. Final word from me is going to be value. Do not drop your value for anyone.
Yes.
Let the people grow up and raise their value to be yours. Don't drop your value because of any situation. Because if you do, and you find yourself in another situation somewhere else again in future, and your standard and the value that you have created for yourself has been dropped, you will struggle again to build up that value to the level at which you have already had before to grow it further again in life. So let your value and your standard continue to grow, because career path is about growth, is about development, is about earning more money into your pocket. In all these things that we're talking about, is about money. If you want to grow in the ladder of a career, you want to be, because we've been privileged to earn, work in organizations where they pay good salaries. But it doesn't mean that good salaries bring about joy and fulfillment in your career. It's about where you're adding value into organizations. It's about where you're adding value into your life. So do not drop your value for any reason.
Correct.
Awesome. You know what I did? I just wrote that value in front of where Janet mentioned consistent. Be consistent. So I just put that value in front of it to just complement that. Beautiful. Well, honestly, I can't thank you, Tokwe. I can't thank you, Janet, enough for the value you've been able to bring into this evening or this afternoon or morning for wherever our participants are joining us from. I kept getting messages, so a lot of people could not join because, so in Lagos, for instance, there was elections today, so people have to go out, some people are moving from one location to the other. But again, if only one or two persons have been able to get value from this session, for me, the essence and the need for this particular session has been met. I want to thank all our participants sitting out there for 120 minutes, listening and picking one or two things that could add value to us has truly been amazing. Thank you for your time. Very insightful session, very detailed. And I just want to say, like Oliver Twist, please, ma'am, please, sir, we'll come for you again, maybe in the near future or in the far future, but just know that we'll come back again because we want to drink more from your fountain of experience and knowledge. But thank you so much for this evening, and thank you for all our participants. Please have a great time in the weeks and the days ahead. Most importantly, continue to grow, continue to do amazing things in your career. It is Career Talk with Professionals, July edition. We look forward to seeing every one of us again in the September edition. Thank you and have a very good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dapo. Thank you for having us. Thank you, the audience, and thank you, Janet. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Engineer Siritokwe. Thank you, Dapo. It's been a great session. Thank you, all listeners.
Thank you. We appreciate your contributions. Thank you so much to Mr. Dapo Akinloye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dapo.
Thank you, Dapo.
Take care.
Thank you, Femi. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We truly appreciate it. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, well done. Thank you, Fast Track Academy. Good job.
Mr. Benga Johnson, thank you.
Yes, boss.
Thank you, Mrs. Atonda. Thank you, Real One. Thank you. Thank you, Tolu Lope.
Thank you, Dapo.
So much. A pleasure. Thank you for coming on. All right. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Zainab. All the best, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.